Hi everybody, Riskmonger here. Welcome back to Astrology Baseball on MLB The Show 22. Today we've got another positive polarity matchup. We've got the Leo Lions visiting the Aquarius Water Bearers. These are the positive fixed signs, with Leo the fixed fire sign and Aquarius the fixed air sign. Here's Bryan Reynolds heading out to the field. He's the center fielder for the Real Life Pirates, and also a piece of trade bait for the rebuilding organization. But of course, he will never be able to be traded away from Aquarius. More's the pity. On the mound for Aquarius is Mariners lefty Marco Gonzalez, who's off to a nice start in both the real-life season and the fantasy season. Actually, the Mariners uniforms are a pretty good sync for Aquarius, both in the color scheme and the nautical theme. But I have the Water Bearers represented by the Dodgers, because the orange and black color scheme of Leo fits best with the Giants, and because of the real-life organization of the divisions, you need to keep the two fixed signs together, and plus these two teams just have so much history. As Adalberto Mondesi, the Leo leadoff hitter, goes down swinging on that outside sinker. Mondesi plays shortstop for the Kansas City Royals. His presence pushed top prospect Bobby Witt Jr. over to third base, which is not going to be good for the Gemini positional eligibility later on down the line, but we don't have to worry about that till next season. And it's a scoreless first for the Water Bearers. Leading off for Aquarius is Ke'Bryan Hayes, third baseman for the Pirates. So he's real-life teammates with Bryan Reynolds, who was featured earlier in the broadcast. He'll face Diamondbacks pitcher Zach Gallen, who gets Hayes to ground out to first. Anthony Rizzo feeds to Gallen covering, and a nice play to start off the game. Next batter, though, Jake Cronenworth. Gallen also jams him, but he's able to fight that one off and punch it through the left side of the infield. There's JD Martinez out there in left field. We'll talk more about him in a minute. Here's Jose Abreu now, the White Sox first baseman. He strikes out on that nasty slider. Zach Gallen is part of a very deep Leo starting staff, which also includes the likes of Max Scherzer, Walker Buehler, Julio Urias, Yu Darvish. Yeah, they're stacked in the rotation. They're also stacked behind the plate. Next batter with Hunter Renfroe at bat. Cronenworth takes off. There's Tyler Stevenson firing a strike to second baseman Dylan Moore, who puts the tag on and gets Leo out of the inning. Leading off the second inning for Leo is Luis Robert, who today is in here as the DH, which is fairly nonsensical, although his bat definitely justifies being in the lineup however necessary, as he strokes a double into the right field gap. See, we've seen this kind of thing earlier with Sagittarius. Mike Trout is a center fielder, so he will obviously start at the position. Then the computer sees Luis Robert, who's also a center fielder, and rather than just shifting him to a corner spot, puts him as the DH, which leaves an iron glover like JD Martinez, who's at the plate now, to play left field. Martinez, though, turns in a productive out, moving Robert over to third base, bringing up Tyler Stevenson, the Cincinnati Reds catcher who just ended the last inning with a caught stealing. And Stevenson will ground out to Ke'Bryan Hayes, who's going to go to first base. Good decision by Hayes, but it puts Leo on the board first with a 1-0 lead. Next batter is, okay, this is an even stranger roster construction decision. I've talked about this before as well. One particular shortcut that I took while constructing these rosters, I think, caused the computer to prioritize current free agents rather than current MLB players, which is the reason why Pablo Sandoval is in there over such actual MLB regulars like Yandy Diaz, Aledmus Diaz, Hunter Dozier, Wilmer Flores. But Sandoval rips a single up the middle. You can see his speed is 3 out of 100. I mean, this nice piece of hitting aside, a guy like Sandoval at this point in his career should not be a starter for an MLB team, let alone a fantasy astrology team. But you got to let the computer do what the computer's going to do. Meanwhile, Sandoval was stranded on the base paths. Or actually, no, he was thrown out at second base in a fielder's choice. Jazz Chisholm knew that he had a better shot of getting the lead runner, even though his momentum was taking him towards first base. But the Leo Lions lead 1-0 after 1.5. Leo threatening again in the third. There's 2 runners on for Mike Trout, who, if you're wondering why he's not wearing his customary number 27, it's because of Juan Marichal. The 1960s hurler with the distinctive leg kick had his number 27 retired by San Francisco, which forces Trout to shift to 47. But no matter his number, he can still hit as he lines a shot into left field. No chance for Mark Canha out there to throw out the speedy Mondesi there at the plate. He got on base with a walk. And then Connor Joe, the Rockies outfielder, followed with a fielding error. Joe would move to third on a double play by Anthony Rizzo, which brings up Luis Robert once again. And he gets his second hit of the day as that one barely lands fair down the right field line. Joe easily trots in from third, and Leo extends their lead even more. Obviously, having Luis Robert as the DH has worked out for the Lions today, but I feel like this defensive alignment is definitely going to cost them some games over the course of the season. But Leo was not done. Here's JD Martinez up for the second time with Robert on second base. And he'll hit one well to right field. It's going to bounce up against the wall. Robert easily scores. It's now 4-0 Lions. But wait, there's more. Tyler Stevenson, who drove in the game's first run, is going to knock one down the line. JD Martinez coming around from third. The throw to second is offline. That was a gutsy decision by Stevenson going into second base. He could have been dead to rights on a good throw. But Leo now has a 5-0 lead. And that's going to be it for Marco Gonzalez. He lasted just 2 1/3 innings, gave up 5 runs, and he's responsible for 1 more as JP Fireisen, the long reliever coming in. He'll draw Pablo Sandoval, who switches over to hit from the left side of the plate. And Sandoval delivers with a big hit into right field, almost exactly where JD Martinez dropped his double. Even with a speed rating of 3, Sandoval's able to get in there to second base. It's now 6-0, and all 6 runs are charged to Marco Gonzalez. Man, for all the flack I gave the computer about putting Pablo Sandoval in the starting lineup, definitely seems to be working out. In the 4th inning, though, Aquarius gets themselves on the board with this line drive shot from Hunter Renfroe that just sneaks around the left field foul pole there at 330 feet. Again, we're at Dodger Stadium, the nicest of the new ballparks built in the 60s. Hunter Renfroe has always had a lot of power, but earlier in his career he was relegated to platoon duty, hitting mostly against left-handers. But last year with the Red Sox, he proved that he could be a full-time player, and then saw himself traded to the Brewers for defensive specialist and former Red Sox Jackie Bradley Jr. Here's a nice close-up of Renfroe. A lot of people say he looks like Mike Trout, so it's kind of fun to see them opposing each other. As Aquarius cuts into the lead, it's now 6-1. In the 5th inning, JP Fireisen still on in long relief against JD Martinez. He's going to hit one out to the hole. An early dive by Brandon Crawford, but he comes up with the ball and throws out Martinez to end the 5th inning. You don't usually see an infielder leave their feet so early, but he was able to slide across the ground there, and he ends up making the play. In the bottom of the 5th, Zach Gallen is dealing. First, he gets Jazz Chisholm swinging on that inside breaking ball. Next batter, Brandon Crawford, goes down looking on a knuckle curve at the knees. And to complete the hat trick, here's Ke'Bryan Hayes, swing and a miss on a slider right down the heart of the plate. Gallen strikes out the side in the 5th. Still 6-1 Lions. A parade of relievers would keep the game scoreless into the 9th inning. Tyler Clippard, Caleb Tealbar, and then Jake Diekman would put up zeros for Aquarius, while Leo got 2 innings each out of Ryan Stanek and Jake McGee, the lefty who's now facing Hunter Renfroe with 2 outs. Renfroe strikes out on that inside pitch. McGee finishes the game. Leo wins it 6-1. And in a surprise to nobody, Aquarius goes down. They've been perennial basement dwellers in the Fantasy Astrology League, although they're actually trending up, starting in the pandemic-shortened 2020 season, which is the only season, going back to the mid-70s, where Aquarius had the most fantasy points in the league. So thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, you can read more about my Astrology Baseball project at my blog, astrologybaseball.com. I'll see you all next time.